In the shadowy corners of history, where forgotten truths and bold conjectures collide, Antonin Horák stands as a figure both captivating and elusive. A Czech filmmaker turned self-taught scholar, Horák dared to rewrite the story of the Slavic people with his provocative work o Slovanech úplně jinak, co nebylo o Slovanech dosud známo, 1991, translated into English as About the Slavs in a completely different way, what was not known about the Slavs before. His audacious claim that the Slavs were not mere latecomers to Europe, but its original architects, their contributions erased by centuries of academic bias, ignited a firestorm of debate.
Yet, beyond his controversial theories lies a deeper mystery. The man himself vanished from the public eye in his later years, leaving behind no trace of his fate. Who was Antonin Horák, and what drove him to challenge the foundations of history? Why do his ideas, dismissed as pseudoscience by scholars, continue to captivate imaginations? This video delves into the life, work, and enduring enigma of a man whose vision of the past was as bold as the questions surrounding his disappearance.
The life, work, and mysterious disappearance of Antonin Horák. Antonin Horák, the enigmatic author of O Slovanech, úplně, 1991, remains a polarizing figure in Slavic studies, celebrated by some for his audacious theories and criticized by others for his pseudoscientific approach. His book, translating to About the Slavs in a completely different way, challenges conventional narratives about Slavic history, language, and cultural origins. While Horák's contributions as a filmmaker and his provocative scholarship have left a mark, his life is shrouded in mystery, particularly in its later years. Many have sought to uncover details about his alleged disappearance, but no definitive accounts of his whereabouts or death have surfaced, fueling speculation about his fate. This essay explores Horák's life, his seminal work, the reasons behind its criticism, and the enduring enigma surrounding his later years.
Early life and background. Details about Antonin Horák's early life are sparse, with no confirmed birth date or comprehensive biography available in public records. Born in the early 20th century in what is now the Czech Republic, Horák emerged as a creative force in Zlín, a center of Czech filmmaking. As a photographer, cinematographer, and director, he collaborated with notable figures like Karl Zeman and Hemina Turlover, contributing to Czech cinema's animated and experimental works. This creative background likely influenced his unconventional approach to historical and linguistic research, marked by imagination and a rejection of established norms. Horák's interest in Slavic history and linguistics developed later, possibly as a personal passion rather than a formal academic pursuit. Working as an autodidact during the 1970s in socialist Czechoslovakia, he faced restrictions on information access and intellectual freedom, which shaped his independent and often solitary research. His lack of formal training and isolation from academic circles set the stage for both his bold ideas and the controversy they ignited.
O Slovanech úplně, Core Themes and Claims. Published in 1991 by LPA Visavis, O Slovanech úplně is Horák's most significant work, a 318-page treatise that reimagines Slavic history and cultural contributions. The book argues that the Slavs were not merely a group that emerged in the 6th century, as mainstream history suggests, but the original inhabitants of Europe responsible for foundational linguistic and cultural developments. Horák's key claims include Proto-Slavic writing system. Horák asserts that the Slavs developed a prehistoric writing system, which he terms Praslavansk pismo, predating the Glagolitic script. He claims to have deciphered ancient inscriptions, including Etruscan ones, using a Slavic linguistic framework. Slavic primacy in Europe. Horák posits that Europe was originally populated solely by Slavs, who drove cultural, linguistic, and technological advancements later attributed to other civilizations, such as the Romans or Greeks. A Etruscan-Slavic connection. He controversially claims that Etruscan texts, long considered undeciphered, are readable through Slavic languages, offering translations supported by what he describes as linguistic and archaeological evidence. Speculative historical links. Horák connects the Slavs to mythical Atlantis and emphasizes the Premyslid dynasty's role in Czech history, framing them as evidence of Slavic cultural supremacy. The book includes photographs, drawings, and translations of ancient texts, urging readers to verify his findings independently. Horák presents his work as a detective story, unraveling a hidden history obscured by centuries of academic bias, an approach that captivates some readers but invites skepticism from scholars.
Horák's methodology and approach. Horák's methodology blends enthusiasm, creativity, and selective evidence interpretation. He employed acrophonic analysis to decode inscriptions, starting with the premise that Slavic languages underpinned ancient scripts. This approach often involved retroactively fitting evidence to his conclusions, a stark contrast to the scientific method's emphasis on empirical testing. His isolation from academic institutions and lack of peer review allowed intellectual freedom, but left his work vulnerable to methodological flaws. Horák's reliance on self-funded research and his status as an amateur scholar resonate with supporters who view him as an outsider challenging entrenched academic dogma. However, this same independence contributed to the criticism his work received, as it lacked the rigor and scrutiny expected in scholarly circles.
Reception and criticism. O Slovanech úplně jinak has sparked polarized reactions. Supporters laud its bold challenge to conventional history, while academic critics dismiss it as pseudoscientific. The reasons for this criticism are rooted in several key issues. 1. Methodological flaws. Critics argue that Horák's translations of Etruscan and Vinca inscriptions lack credible linguistic or archaeological support. The Etruscan language is widely accepted as non-Indo-European, rendering Horák's Slavic-based decipherments implausible. Similarly, his claim that the Vinca script is Proto-Slavic contradicts mainstream views that these symbols are non-linguistic or proto-writing. Linguist Peter Wagner has called Horák's conclusions absurd, citing his disregard for established linguistic correspondences. 2. Pseudoscientific nature. Horák's work is often labeled pseudoscientific for prioritizing narrative over evidence. His use of the Lentulus letter, a medieval forgery, to suggest a Slavic origin for Jesus Christ exemplifies this tendency. Critics describe his approach as a syncretic mishmash, weaving speculative connections, such as linking Slavs to Atlantis, without substantiation. 3. Rejection of mainstream scholarship. Mainstream scholarship places Slavic ethnogenesis in the 5th to 6th centuries CE, with no evidence of a prehistoric writing system. The book's emphasis on Slavic primacy has been criticized for promoting nationalist and pseudo-patriotic narratives. While supporters view it as a reclamation of Slavic identity, critics argue it exaggerates Slavic contributions at the expense of other cultures, aligning with problematic trends in nationalist historiography. Horák's isolation from academic institutions meant his work bypassed rigorous peer review. He reportedly sought scholarly feedback but found academics reluctant, possibly due to the political climate of socialist Czechoslovakia or the work's controversial nature. This lack of scrutiny allowed errors to persist, reinforcing critics' dismissal of his claims. Support and appeal. Despite academic rejection, O Slovanech úplně jinak enjoys a cult following among those skeptical of mainstream history. Supporters admire Horák's challenge to what they perceive as Western-centric narratives, valuing his translations as evidence of overlooked Slavic contributions. The book's 2024 reprint reflects ongoing interest, particularly among Slavic cultural enthusiasts. Its narrative style and invitation for independent verification appeal to readers who feel alienated by academic gatekeeping. The mystery of Horák's disappearance. The most enigmatic aspect of Horák's life is his alleged disappearance in his later years. Public records offer no definitive information about his death, including its date, cause, or circumstances. A reader's comment from 2010 notes correspondence with Horák, about 2 years before his passing, suggesting he was alive into the late 1980s or early 1990s, given the book's 1991 publication. Another source mentions Horák's death as relatively recent in 2010, but no concrete details confirm his fate. Intriguingly, many individuals, ranging from curious readers to amateur historians, have sought to uncover what happened to Horák, particularly in the years following his book's publication. Despite these efforts, no one has surfaced to definitively attest to his whereabouts, whether he died or how such an event occurred. This absence of information has fueled speculation, with some wondering if Horák's controversial theories led to his retreat from public life, or if external factors obscured his fate. The lack of clarity contrasts sharply with his book's bold claims, leaving his personal story as much a mystery as the history he sought to rewrite.
Horák's broader legacy. Beyond his scholarship, Horák's contributions to Czech cinema and his reported work as a healer reflect his eclectic interests. His attempt to decipher lineae, though dismissed as incoherent, underscores his fearless curiosity. The polarized reception of Slovanech úplně jinak highlights tensions between amateur and professional scholarship, with Horák's work embodying the risks and rewards of independent inquiry. The mystery of his disappearance adds a layer of intrigue to his legacy, amplifying interest in his ideas. While critics view his work as a cautionary tale of pseudoscience, supporters see him as a visionary challenging historical orthodoxy. His book remains a touchstone for debates about Slavic identity and the role alternative narratives in history.
Conclusion. Antonín Horák's life and work, centered on Slovanech úplně jinak, reflect the complexities of an outsider challenging established historical narratives. His background as a filmmaker and autodidact fueled a creative but controversial approach to Slavic history, earning both admiration and condemnation. Criticized for methodological flaws, pseudoscientific claims, and nationalist undertones, his work nonetheless resonates with those seeking alternative perspectives on Slavic heritage. The unresolved mystery of his disappearance and later life, unconfirmed by any definitive account, adds an enigmatic dimension to his story, ensuring that Horák remains a figure of fascination and debate. His legacy underscores the enduring tension between unconventional scholarship and academic rigor, leaving a lasting, if contentious, impact on Slavic studies.
Antonín Horák's legacy is a tapestry woven from threads of creativity, defiance, and mystery. His work, though scorned by academics for its lack of rigor, invites us to question the boundaries of accepted history and the stories we tell about our origins. Slovanech úplně jinak is more than a book. It is a challenge to explore the past with fresh eyes, even if its conclusions falter under scrutiny.
The unresolved question of Horák's disappearance, unanswered despite the efforts of many, adds a haunting dimension to his story, reminding us that some truths remain just beyond reach. As we reflect on Horák's life, we are left with a provocative thought. Perhaps the value of his work lies not in its accuracy, but in its power to inspire curiosity, to push us toward the edges of what we believe is possible, and to wonder what secrets, like Horák himself, still linger in the shadows of history.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future ideas that challenge us to think outside the box. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, and don't forget to always maintain that curiosity that drives progress. Also, explore even more fascinating content on our channel. From life-changing tips and cutting-edge technology, to the mysteries of spirituality, travel to various countries, delicious recipes, health hacks, and language learning, there's something here to spark your curiosity and elevate your life. Dive in and discover a world of knowledge awaits us.